Hey, internet friends, welcome back. So today we will be going over chain of events with the Jack and Lilly case. Now that I have some of the messages, voice messages, and text messages from the family, I am able to kind of see a chain of events from what happened the morning that Jack and Lilly went missing. Now, before we get started, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel. That way you are notified when we upload. Now, I want you to keep these two questions in mind as we go through the messages today. First, if Malaya called the school at the end of the driveway at 6:17 to 6:18, did Janie's dog bark? It seemed to bark every time that when Daniel came out yelling for the kids and when the kids came out of the house that morning. Also, wouldn't Malaya have known that Janie was home that day if the dog barked when she came out to use the phone? And also, wouldn't Malaya have known that she was home because the chickens were done up, right? The chickens were out. So she knew that her Daniel was supposedly sleeping. So what do you think? Keep that in mind as we go through these voice messages. All right, let's get started.
I gave you right back to Monday. I told you from Monday right up till Friday morning. That's when I heard and seen the kids. If you want, I'll go through it again. On Monday, they went to school. Monday afternoon, they were outside. Tuesday, they went to school. Tuesday after school, they were outside. Wednesday, they left at around 12 o'clock to go to Patty's to do laundry. They didn't get home till 10 o'clock. The reason I know is my dog barked and let me know. I opened up my door. I said to Daniel, I said, "You're getting home kind of late, aren't you?" He said, "I would have been home a lot earlier." Thursday morning, they didn't go to school. I heard they went to town. I don't know where they went. I don't know what they bought. Nothing. And then I come out of the train. I heard the kids outside, and I opened up the door. Jack and Lily were right out here by the playhouse. If you look at the Google map between the playhouse and the woodshed where the swings are, they were out there looking for worms and centipedes. Because when I opened up the door, Jack said, "Look, I found a worm. I found a centipede." I said, "Good boy." I said, "You keep looking." Then I went out. I started raking up the yard here for a leveling out for a swimming pool for the kids because I was going to put one up this year. Waiting for Daniel to help me build the fence because he had to go look for his tools. Then after that, when Daniel came and helped me with put the 2x4s up or the boards up on the fence, I continued with the fence. Then I came back in to get something to eat. I don't know what time the kids went inside or what time they went to bed or anything. And then Friday morning, I got up at 6 o'clock. I sat here and I played on Facebook. I sent a thing to my brother at 6:24. And then 7 o'clock, I went out and I did up the chickens. And I came back in. I sat here. I played on Team U, which is the worst thing you can get addicted to. And then my brother called me at 8:48. Talked for 2 minutes and 59 seconds. He asked me if I was going to town. I said no. I said I'm staying home. I'm going back to bed to have a sleep. I went back to bed. It wasn't long after that. I can't tell you how long. I laid there for a little while playing on Facebook. I dozed off. I heard the dog bark. The kids were outside. I heard the kids. And then after that, I didn't hear nothing. Everything just went completely silent. And I don't know how long after that. I heard Daniel yelling for the kids. I figured he was yelling at the kids to get inside, or Jack was letting my chickens out, which he usually does. He let them out a few times. So I figured Daniel was getting mad at him for that. The next thing you know, I dozed off again a little, maybe dozed off, or I get up about 5 or 10 minutes after that, and I found Malaya outside, standing there holding Meadow on her hip, and she was holding her on her right side of her hip. Now, I don't recall if she had her phone or not. That wasn't important to me. The only thing is what I was looking at is her standing there, and I asked her what's up, and that's when she told me the kids were missing for 20 minutes. But that morning, my dog was sleeping with me in bed. When he heard the kids, kids yelling, or kids talking, I should say, sorry, talking. My dog was in bed with me, and I told him, it's the kids outside playing. He shut right up. Then he barked again when Daniel was yelling out the back door for the kids. I didn't pay any attention to him because I thought he was telling the kids to get into the house. And besides, Jack lets my chickens out. And I let my chickens out at 7 o'clock that morning. So Jack has a habit of going around, moving stuff, and the chickens get out underneath the pen. So I thought he was yelling at him about the chickens.
Okay, right here in this message to myself from Daniel Martell, it says that the RCMP were called before 10 a.m. and took 12 minutes to arrive. Then, right here from Janie, she says she was up at 6 that morning and talked to her brother at 8:48. So why was Janie up at 6? Did her dog wake her up because Malaya was at the end of the driveway calling the school at 6:17, 6:18 a.m.? Then you have this clip here that it says they called the school around 9:40 a.m. So this is what I have for the chain of events. 6:17 a.m. Malaya calls the school from the end of the driveway. Does the dog bark? Is that the reason why Janie is awake at 6? Then 6:24, brothers text to Janie. 7 o'clock, Janie deals with the chickens. 8:48, her brother again. 8:51, plays on Facebook. And then I'm going to say that around between that time to 9 o'clock, she dozes off again. Then around 9:10 a.m. in the morning, roughly, dog barks because the dog hears the kids. The dog is sleeping in bed with Janie. Then roughly around 9:20, Dan at the back door, dog barks again. Now, not sure how Janie knows that Dan is at the back door yelling for the kids, but let's just say that she just happens to know. Dog barks again at 9:20. Okay, he's yelling for the kids. And then she says it's kind of like silence. So she dozes off again. All right. Then in the next message, she says then she gets up and supposedly goes outside. And she sees Malaya standing there with baby Meadow on her right hip. She didn't know if she had her phone or not. So 911 was supposedly called at 9:40, but then in the one message it says 10. But we know for sure, I guess, they arrived at within 12 minutes. In my opinion, the kids went missing in between 9:20 to 9:40 that morning, if they went missing on Friday morning. This is just my opinion and me just trying to make sense of the chain of events. Now, without making this video really long, I want to hear what you guys think about the chain of events here. Do you think Janie came outside when Dan was yelling from the back door? How would she know he was yelling from the back door? Unless she could see him maybe from her RV. But it seemed like the dog barked at pretty much everything. So if Malaya did go out by the end of the driveway, don't you think the dog would have barked when she went to the end of the driveway to call the school that morning? And don't you think Malaya would have known that Janie was there that morning? I don't know. I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below. And like I said before, I really appreciate y'all commenting, and I love reading them, and I appreciate all of you. Have a great day.